Hi, is it G? Good to see you. Or good to have you here. Just waiting for some more folks to come in. But as people are joining, hi, Angela. Um, some logistics on using LinkedIn audio. If you would like to participate, which I would love. This is what I love about LinkedIn audios is that we get to have conversations on this version or this medium. So just all you got to do is raise your hand and I can bring you up on the stage and we can chat about this. I really love hearing the collective wisdom of the group, not just what's going on, what I can share with you all, right? There's so much more information that we could share and learnings that we'd have with each other. So very much encourage you all to come join me if you feel, if you're able to, feel called to, etc. But we'll get started and just let people trickle in as they do. But thank you again so much for joining. Running a business can often feel like a roller coaster, right? There are these ups and downs, highs and lows, and particularly in those dips, or even at the start of running your business, you can feel like this imposter. First of all, what I want to say is, and remind you all is like, you are an expert. And too often I hear from clients or potential clients that say things like, I didn't work in corporate or I don't have an MBA, right? And I'm like, none of that matters. It doesn't matter, right? These things don't teach you how to run a business. Running a business teaches you how to run a business. And so you might be new to being a business owner, and a lot of us are too, right? A lot of us are first generation business owners, our families, or no one in our family or friend around our friends have started one, and so that's okay. That's a lot of us. But I want to remind you that you are not new to your craft. You might be new to owning a business, but you're not new to your craft, right? And likely you decided to start a coaching business or a consulting business or become a service provider and start and become an independent consultant because you are freaking good at what you do. So friendly reminder today on Built by BIPOC, you might have a new business, but it's an old craft, and how you might be able to conquer this imposter syndrome as it comes up. And also just to remind you that you are an expert. So hopefully you're in the right place today to have this conversation. So with that, hey, Samantha, with that, I'd like to share, like maybe some of you are new to me. I think I'm seeing some newer faces, some newer avatars here. So just want to welcome you. My name is Carissa Begonia. I am a business coach for BIPOC entrepreneurs, a LinkedIn sales and marketing expert, and top voice. I'm a second generation Filipino-American daughter of immigrants and the first and only in my family to start my own business. And I really do believe that entrepreneurship is the path to equity and that life design is liberation. And at Conscious Exchange, we're creating an ecosystem and a movement of BIPOC entrepreneurs with the shared mission to achieve time, location, financial, and occupational freedom, not just for ourselves, but also for our families and our communities. So again, just wanted to thank you all for joining Built by BIPOC in collective conversations. And here again, we're sharing collective stories, connecting through common experiences, and hopefully be able to, glean from each other's lessons that we've learned. Just philosophy-wise, I really do believe that deeper conversations lead to deeper connections, and that when you can lead with being relational over being transactional, that's when all the business magic happens. So if you like anything that you hear today, I would very much encourage you to DM me, DM other folks. And if you enjoy the experience of being in community together, I also invite you to check out the Exchange, which is my ecosystem and membership community for BIPOC entrepreneurs. All right. So with that, oh, is it going in and out? I'm getting some messages that it's coming in and out. Hold on one second. Hopefully something's going on with my phone and that worked out. Thanks, Angela, for the heads up and letting me know that it's kind of coming out. Is this better? Can I get a thumbs up maybe from someone? Let me know if this is working. Yeah, awesome, wonderful. Thanks so much, everybody. And hey, Rochelle, welcome thanks for joining us. Okay, so the way I kind of like to host these, like I said, it's a collective conversation, but I know sometimes people need a little warming up to get going. Hey, Rob. And so, I'd like to share sometimes some of the things that I have done or I've advised my clients and such to do when inevitably, you're maybe in a dip in this roller coaster and you're like, what do I do? How do I get myself out of this? I'm feeling a little bit low or feeling like I don't know what I'm doing or things aren't working. So I have a few tips for you all. So the first thing that when you are feeling maybe this imposter syndrome come up for you and you're like, maybe I'm not as good as I think, or I don't know what I'm doing. The first thing I advise people to do is write down your wins, right? You might have developed or have an exercise for yourself where you're creating, document a wins list. So maybe if that's a practice of yours, great, reference it, because maybe you have it tucked away in a notebook somewhere, or the back pages of some notebook, you haven't looked at it recently, and you need those reminders. Our brains often go to like the last thing and like a negative thing, and we kind of ruminate on that. And so we have to have intentional reminders like a wins list to be like, oh yeah, I'm really good at this. I help people achieve, like, get a new job or raise their salary by 20%, or start their own business, leave a toxic relationship, whatever it may be, move to another country, right? I help people do that. And so sometimes when no one else is around us, we need to remind ourselves of how great we are, and all the things that we're able to do and the things we've been able to achieve with our clients. Another wins list, though, could also just be your personal achievements. Maybe you're newer to your starting your practice, and so you don't have all these client wins yet. All good, right? What are your own personal achievements? You've been through a lot, which just gives you some credibility for being able to teach this to folks. So don't discredit all of the things, all the accolades you had, the awards, the certifications you went through, just even personal hard stuff that you've overcome. Having all of that documented somewhere allows you to remind yourself of, look at all the things I have achieved, and remind yourself, like, even on those dips and or the beginning stages when you're not sure, having this uncertainty, to help create more of that assuredness and confidence. All right, so that's tip one. Tip two is read your testimonials from folks, right? Some of you who have businesses already, hopefully that is a practice that you've been implementing, that when you have clients and they're coming off of the tail end of their experience with you, that you're collecting those testimonials. If you've run a workshop and you were able to, again, get feedback in the chat or so, do you have that information? Like, can you reference back and look at that so that you can see, for yourself, again, other people's words, what they've said about you, what they've said about their experience with you. All right. So take a look at those testimonials. Again, maybe it's this automated process that you no longer reference so much. And again, it's an intentional exercise for you to go back to those and check it out. So the next tip I have for you is going to coaching, or advising and providing some interaction and conversation. This recently happened, actually, just yesterday, was having my own little dip, and I was on coaching mode yesterday, had a lot of clients, and I was just going through strategies. And that alone, and the feedback, the real-time feedback I'm getting from my clients, and the aha moments they're having in that hour session, right, is fueling. It's reminding me, like, yeah, maybe I'm feeling like sluggish today or for the week or whatever, right? But I have so much energy when it comes to serving my clients. So maybe you need to create more of that. If you don't have a lot of clients or you don't have something go on, maybe you could offer some free advice or do some LinkedIn audios or lives or something where you can provide some of that guidance that people are really looking for. Even some of the calls I took yesterday were discovery calls. And even that felt really good to be able to leave people with some semblance of a strategy and some clarity on something they were like spinning on for a while, So how can you share some advice, share some guidance with folks immediately so that you can get maybe that boost of energy again that you probably have when you are in coaching mode or in consulting mode. Okay. Number 4 tip I have for you is turn off all the noise. So social media can create a lot of FOMO, right? Can create a lot of comparison. And so when you're seeing like all these other people's wins that they're posting about, a lot of people share their dips, right? They share a lot of like what's going on, what's working, how things that are exciting. Less folks are sharing things when it's hard. And so when you're seeing so much positive and like everything's working for everyone, why not me? Right? Why am I struggling? Can sometimes be the story that we are telling ourselves. So turn it all off, right? Keep your lane to yourself. Keep the path that you're on focused, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing. And it's easier said than done. So one very actionable thing to do around this is just turn it off. Turn off the notifications. Maybe you need to take the app off your phone for a bit. Take breaks and such. Take a social media break, right? For a week or so. Unfollow folks just so that you can get a little bit clearer head and not worry about just comparison. Okay. And then lastly, number 5 tip for you I have is connect with your accountability groups, your buddies, your hype squad. Have those conversations that are generative, and maybe it's not always about business either, right? Maybe it's just I need to reconnect with some family members or some friends and childhood friends or whatnot that keep me excited and remind me of it's not just this moment in time where I'm feeling maybe a little bit again of that dip or feeling this imposter syndrome. There's a whole lifetime of things I've done and achieved, big and small, right? And sometimes your hype squad, your closest friends, your best friend might be some of the people that know you the best, that can hype you up the best, right? So reconnect with those folks. I know that for some time, because I was in such business mode, and everyone I was talking to was a potential client, a partner, a guest, something, right? And it was so many business conversations, and it was getting a little exhausting, and I felt my energy depleting. And so either connecting with my accountability group, my business folks, but more so connecting with my friends and not talking about business, just even talking about fun things, or just even like personal achievements that are outside of my business goals, was rejuvenating, was helpful, was reinvigorating, right? So disconnect from business, reconnect with people that can hype you up. All right. So those are my quick tips around when you are feeling this imposter syndrome come up, when you are potentially in the beginning stages of your business and you're like, I'm not good at this. I don't have enough experience. Maybe I'm too green. Just remember, you are an expert at what you do. That is why you've become an independent business owner, consultant, coach, etc. And so now maybe the new part for you is being the business owner, and that's something that can be learned. And maybe the way you want to learn that is being in communities like this, being communities with other folks who are other business owners who are ahead of you that you can learn from, right? And so, but getting out of that mode of thinking that I don't know everything. We don't know everything in the beginning. We don't know everything all the time. And so it's okay, but you are an expert at what you do, right? That is my last reminder to you. So with that, those are my tips. I would love at this point to just invite anyone who is interested. Jupiter, thank you so much for raising your hand and joining me on the stage. For the rest of everyone listening, hey, Charity and Christian, thanks for joining. If you're interested, if you have something to share, like any of the tips I share, and any kind of things you want to add to that, your own tips for like dealing with imposter syndrome when you are, again, in the dips or in the beginning of your business, I would love to hear it. This is about the collective wisdom from the group. So please, all you got to do is raise your hand and I can bring you onto the stage. But while we're waiting for folks to do that, Jupiter, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, hello. Wow, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I hope I didn't seem like pushy coming in. I'm like, I wanted to support you, which like, yes, I will be here for you to talk to. And then I want you to know I also took notes during the tip. So thank you for having me up here, and while you're doing your thing. I appreciate the space. I'm very excited. I've been trying to come to one of your shows for a long time now.
Oh, yay. That's wonderful to hear. Thank you, because, I see that you're maybe, you do a lot of new, like social media videos, repurposing and such. Doing stuff like this can be tough, right? And doing stuff like this, can also be when you're on a LinkedIn audio in particular, and you're talking to yourself. I've done enough of these. I think I'm prepared to talk to myself, but I like talking to other people. So thank you for recognizing and for supporting. I appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. I feel that. I started off as a live streamer, which is kind of like you tap that nerve in. So I definitely know what that's like. Sometimes you get in there, it's like, well, no one's here I am. And then other times I'm like, no one's gonna show up, and all these people are there. I'm like, I wish I was there. But so yeah, when you said that, it's like you might be new to your business, but you're not new to your craft, that really like resonated within me, because that it was so succinct for a feeling that I've been identifying with, right? Like, okay, wait, hold on. I was doing this, I was a creative doing this on socials, and the transition into like turning it into a business and an agency very different, and the imposter syndrome has been absolutely real. So one of the things that I was thinking about is like, how can I connect that, right? Like, how can I think back to the time in 2016 when I was a live streamer and I was making videos more often, and like I'm kind of in my like fairy godmother phase. And I've left the Cinderella phase. And so I'm building my story around that right now, and it is so intimidating. Like sometimes I wish I could just let me just go live stream and every single day, and I'll make what I need to make. But I'm like, no, I'm building something bigger and better for the future, and it's really scary. So I'm super stoked to be honest about that. Having
Oh, Jupiter, do I hear you? Did we lose you? Or is that me?
oh gosh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. My goodness. I don't know what it must be, this new AI technology. Why are you still trying to connect to my phone? I don't know why it's doing that though, but we're just gonna put that on airplane mode.
I was having the same thing. So thanks, y'all for the grace too, because that's exactly what's going on. My phone
So
was like
yeah,
connecting
anyway,
the
I fucking
microphone.
thank you for creating the space, and I'm excited to hear how other people, especially if they're like, I did this in this way, but now I'm doing it as a business. What else people have, I'm happy to hear.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that honesty, and can happily to talk through some other things about how you can get over that the initial like, oh, I love the phrase of I'm past the Cinderella phase and now I'm in my fairy godmother phase. So thanks for that. Hi, Christian. I'm glad I was able to get you up there. I was like trying to push the button and something wasn't working. So welcome. I'm glad you're up here with me though.
Hello.
How you doing? Christian, you have any thoughts or questions around dealing with imposter syndrome when you're either starting your business or when you're kind of in the low of or in the roller coaster ride of your business? Is my thing not working again? Oh no, am I having some technical difficulties again? Hello? Okay. I think I am experiencing some technical stuff here, so I apologize. Christian, I was asking you a bunch of questions and it might not have gone
Oh,
through.
okay. All right. I didn't want to just start taking over and start talking. I was like, let me just read it, see what happens here.
Yeah, so just was asking you about anything that resonated, anything that you want to share. So you're a Gallup Strengths expert here, so that's awesome to have people with these different frameworks and different expertises in the room. But just love to hear a little bit more about you, your business, how maybe you deal. Maybe you have some thoughts around for Jupiter as well.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, I do. That's the main reason I raised my hand was to talk a bit about how I overcome imposter syndrome, how I help clients do it as well. But so I came in a little late, so I apologize. I missed most of the suggestions. I just heard the last one, but I do agree with that particular one. Um, so as you mentioned, I do Gallup strengths work, and so one of the things that's really helped me overcome imposter syndrome was taking the Gallup strengths assessment and really understanding my strengths, because it gave me, on a document, gifts and talents that I bring in any room that I walk into, what they are. And so that's so huge in overcoming imposter syndrome, is knowing the value that you bring to the table. It also gave me language to articulate that value to other people as well. And then in group settings where I know other people's strengths, it allows me to see them better and understand their strengths and interact with them better. So I love introducing clients to the Gallup Clifton Strengths Assessment because it allows them to really feel impact. And we live in a society where we're told our strengths are our weaknesses, in many rooms as well. And so it's good just to reframe them as strengths for people. Yeah, I want to share that.
Yeah, I actually love that. I know I have a few friends I feel like that are certified in like strength finders and such. And I think having that assessment, like it's about this self-awareness, right? I am a certified emotional intelligence coach, and that's definitely something that is one of the first pillars that or things that you learn is bringing more awareness to what you're good at, what your emotions are, what you're feeling in different times, like even feeling, seeing, or sensing what's going on in the world around you, right? I think so that first awareness is important. Start and like you said, like what are those strengths, right? Because then you can lean on those more, right? I know a lot of my own friends who are, say, late stage diagnosed ADHD. That awareness for them was like, oh, right, maybe this is what's going on, right? And then we can now do something. So like when you're aware of, the strengths, where you're aware of the problems, when you can name these things, then you can start to maybe like deal with it, right? Do something with that. Are you going to share something, Christian?
Yes, you cut off a little bit towards the end, but no, definitely agree. My wife identifies as somebody that has ADHD, has been diagnosed with ADHD, and when I first introduced this assessment to her, I remember her going back and forth on like, oh, I wonder like, is this innate in me or is it how my ADHD shows up? And I think we've both learned together over time that ADHD is how her brain works, so it is innate in her. But so it's been interesting navigating with her and a few of my clients that have ADHD as well. But I there was something else I was going to say. Um, another thing about the strengths assessment is that it I like introducing it for firms that are on a diversity, equity, inclusion journey as well, because it gives people language and to feel seen in the workplace, which is such a big part of inclusion and DEI. So when you are able to articulate your strengths to other people, when they're able to see what your gifts are and what you bring to the table, it really does help a lot in building inclusive cultures. So I was going to mention that as well.
No, that's totally great with being able to say it's not just like an individuals, right? Like it's that meshing with your team members, even if you're a small team of 3 or 2. This is killing me. I'm sorry about this tech right now because my phone keeps going on and I can't figure it out. But Jupiter, you were asking, or you were saying, like, I have an expertise in some of the like live streaming, like returning back to some of that stuff, right? That's not a bad thing. But that is maybe, as Christian is sharing, like your strength and expertise that you have. Lean into it. And something, as I'm dealing with tech issues right now, just like, let's be relevant, like help a sister out, right? Like you helped me when you were the first person that came in. And so like those little things, the things that you recognize, you might not even realize that that's a part of a skill set you have. It's a personality type, right? That all that experience of you live streaming, you can maybe teach someone who's looking to be more visible, who is looking to do more video or podcasting or whatever, right? That's a skill set. Coming onto a live stream of any type, whether it's audio or especially video, that's a lot of that's a skill. Not everyone can just show up and then manage, like especially live. There's no editing. You can edit it after the fact, but like current and dealing with people joining or not joining or falling off, right? That's all something to learn how to manage. And so don't discredit that, that you do that. Maybe it's something you teach. And all these little subtle things too that you might receive, or like nuances that you pick up on because of that experience. That is the thing that you can't really teach somebody, that you gain, those skills that you gain when you are doing it. You know, same thing for you, Christian, when you're with the Gallup Strengths Assessment that you know how to do, but the nuances about it and how that's applied, that's a whole different thing. Like that, like being able to everyone could read the book, right? Everyone can read about themselves, but how does that apply to my life? And how can I listen to somebody and connect with the person who is guiding me in this and believe them? That's the skill set that you all have that you can't teach, or learn like quickly, automatically. It is your years of experience or experience at all doing it that makes you the expert. And of course, again, like I said, a lot of us are newer business owners. And as we're experiencing even here, I've been doing this for some time. I'm still having tech issues, right? So how you maneuver, and learn to maneuver, that creates the expertise. And that's the thing that you have. Learning the business part of it might be the newer thing, and separating these ideas, separating the skill sets, because they are different skill sets. Sometimes when we're in these programs and we're around other people and they're like telling us, or it makes us feel like they're one and the same. It is not. I am not a Gallup strengths expert. I know nothing about that, right? I know very little, right? I am not a live stream expert. I know what I know, and so being able to like work with different folks in the room and say like, hey, Christian, hey, Charity, um, hey, Jupiter, like, what are your different strengths? Because maybe we can support each other, right? Hi, Charity, I'm going to bring you up on the stage. Give me a second. And thanks, Jupiter, for the little note. I'm trying. I've been turning that thing on and off with airplane mode and such, and so who knows what's going on. But I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Charity, it should be letting you up, so hopefully that's working. But yeah, I'm curious for you, Christian and Jupiter, if you want to come back up, if you have time. I would love to know, like, maybe what stage of business are you in? Are you coming at this conversation a little bit more from like I am newer, or coming at it from more, sometimes, yeah, I've been doing this and there are the dips and there are the highs. And so or I have this lingering imposter syndrome sometimes. That could be a real thing too.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate the question. So it's interesting because I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur in the sense that I owned a home cleaning business for 10 years.
Mm.
Within that, I also had a limo service. And as part of like my authenticity journey and redesigning my life to become more of my authentic self, I moved away from kind of my cleaning business, sold it, and this is one of the things I did was launch Kindred Keynotes and Coaching. And it's interesting because it's a very different business. I feel like I have a lot of business experience, but this is such a different business that it's been about going on 10 months now, and I absolutely question the model and, question the viability of the business and can it work, and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely, still have. I mean, it's becoming a little bit less imposter syndrome and becoming a bit more just like questioning whether the business model I've created can work. But still, a part of it is often, imposter syndrome. Is it me? Is it something I'm doing wrong? Um, Particularly, I know this is a space for people of color, particularly like as a Black man on the younger side of doing this work. And it's just, yeah, I question sometimes whether it's me and whether I can make it in this industry, so yeah. Just a lot of thoughts. Sorry. No conclusion.
Oh, okay. I would like to, let's not skirt past that real quick. Hold up, rewind. Because that part, I'm humbling myself and, working with that shadow work, inner child work. What's in the ego? Not me. What? I don't have, but, it's like, so sometimes it's like, oh, do I actually know what I'm talking about when I'm challenged by people, particularly people who are not BIPOC? I find myself yielding at certain points, and it's not till after the conversation that I'm like, wait, no, I knew what I was talking about. Or 2 weeks down the road, the issue's coming up. I'm like, I should have said something. So making that a practice right now to be like, no, I know the things I know. And sometimes maybe I'm not 100% correct. The internet changes all the time, but that's definitely, and that's why earlier when you're just like, you are not new to your craft, you're new to your business. Like, oh, I'm gonna put a post-it on the wall because yeah, the imposter syndrome, especially amongst other people who I have historically been told that are like our superior, always correct, look up towards them, it's challenging for sure. So to overcome that, I've personally just been like reminding myself of like, well, where is my perspective coming from and where is their perspective coming from? And I like run that filter, and it's very, very helpful. I've created like a model called the vital media method. So basically, if it's anything video, image, text, audio, live, socials, I can probably stand 10 toes down on it. And that's been helpful. But if it's like email funnels, I'm like, oh, how about you tell me about that? I'll tell you about a short form. And it's been helpful. But yeah, conquering that, it's definitely a work in progress. And I think it might be one for my whole damn life. So accepting that is helpful too.
Thanks for calling out a couple things,
thanks.
Jupiter. And just want to welcome you, Emily. If you want to come join us in the conversation, just got to raise your hand and I can bring you up onto the stage. So one, yeah, the gaslighting maybe, or the experience of being the only, or first only other, the one person of color, right? The one Black man Christian in the room, or when you have all these gurus who don't look like you talking about XYZ thing and saying, I am the expert and you're not, right? Like that is real. And that contributes to why we may feel like, is it me? Like, am I just not understanding this thing? Like this guy says it's supposed to be like this. Why isn't it working? What am I doing wrong? Right. But in reality, there's so many different models. There's so many ways to do the thing. There are common ones, but it's not the end all be all. And I'll definitely challenge, I was writing up, for example, I was writing up my like qualifying questions, say on my intake form for like doing discovery calls. And, people want to say like, make it open, like qualify them and such. But I put on there like that my time is valuable. Like my expertise is valuable. And please respect that. So if you're going to book this call, cool, show up. And also understand like this is a generous thing, right? And so because people will want to take things from you all the time for free, say, and there's plenty of, maybe Jupiter, you do this, plenty of free content that you produce, and like respect the time, right? And like and I'm sure if I like sent that to some guru, they'd be like, take that off, like don't create these barriers. And I'm like, listen, this is a values check, right? Because I would want to work with people who respect my time and I respect theirs. And I think particularly for people of color, when our expertise, our credibility, like we are asked to work more and harder and prove things, I'm damn right going to put that question in there to make sure that even for other people of color, that we understand that it's a respectability thing for ourselves. And I teach that to people. So like, but I'm sure that's not a quote unquote best practice. According to who though? I'm going to make this a best practice and I'm going to see how it goes, right? Because everyone I talk to and the people I enjoy the most, we all respect each other's time. We name it. We say thank you when we're going over or we're doing this and that with each other, right? And we are overly generous by nature, I think, when we're working in equity spaces. But let's remind folks not to take advantage of that, and also remind ourselves that we can create boundaries around some of this, right? For ourselves, especially within ourselves. So anyway, I just went on a rant on that because people will tell us, or people will say that there is a way to do it. There's one way, or there's the proper way, there is the right way. And I'm like, Jupiter, how you were saying, like, according to who, right? Like, says who? right? Check the expert that you're following. And what I have learned about entrepreneurship is that it is very much a personal journey. And yes, there are some best practices out there that are great to follow. And it's time to, Christian, talk about being DEI spaces. Like, we're trying to not just reform different systems and practices, but like completely reinvent them, right? So permission to also carve the path, because maybe the way you're thinking about it from your body, right? And your experiences is different, and it's not the dominant one right now, maybe, or in the spaces that we sometimes often find ourselves in, we're not the dominant voice. So it might feel like maybe we're not the expert, right? But says who? Okay, and according to who? And I would challenge you to think differently about, you've been doing this for some time, Christian. You said you're a serial entrepreneur. You've had several business models. And did I hear correctly that you sold one? I haven't sold a business. Right? Like, so that is something that you have done, right? And maybe again, a lot of friends have not done, right? Or have not run multiple businesses. So much they can say that they've exited some, so that in itself is an expertise and an experience that can be taught, that can be shared.
Right, right.
Hey, Charity.
No, thank you for that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. This is Charity Nicholas. I'm a new life and leadership coach. I mean, I've been doing mentorship for many years, but this is my first time starting my own business. I have a coaching company called Lumatala, which I launched a few years ago. And then I had imposter syndrome and some major life events that happened. So I put that on hold for a few years. And now I'm coming back to it. And hearing all of you talk gives me hope that, it's not just me. Like, the imposter syndrome is real. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I afraid to move forward? Like, I've been in my career for like 30 years, mentored people. I'm an environmental consultant during the day. I've, faced discrimination, workplace injustice. I'm a DEI ERG lead. I do all these things, but when it comes to trying to set my own business and come out as a life and leadership coach, I have so much imposter syndrome. I'm like, oh, I'm not like, I'm not a full vetted coach, right? I'm not part of the International Coaching Foundation, or I don't have these different credentials, and so it makes me shrink, and I'm like afraid to put my stuff out there. So I love hearing all of you talk and share, and that it helps me to see that there are a lot of steps and strategies that I need to incorporate to combat this imposter syndrome, which is more than just the technical aspect of what I know. So I really appreciate this conversation. And if you have any tips on those who are starting out with their coaching and overcoming this imposter syndrome, please do share. Would love to hear it.
Yeah, happy to share some stuff. I cut you off, Christian, so I wanted to give you the floor.
No, you're fine. No, and I do have some things I can share as on that topic. But no, I was just saying that it's interesting when you think about imposter syndrome, right? I scaled this business, I sold it, and there's still imposter syndrome there because it never hit all the heights we wanted it to hit, And so even though it was this asset that somebody wanted to buy, there's still some imposter syndrome even there. So that's all I was going to say. But
can I pause you for 1 second? Can I pause you for 1 second there? Is it okay?
Sure.
Would it be okay if we gave you a moment to reframe?
I'd like that. Yeah.
Because you sold a business, and like I said, like I haven't sold a business. Charity is starting a business. I don't know. Jupiter's on a journey of it, right? So congratulations. We have something to learn from you, and yeah, I think it's an opportunity for you to reframe that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It was a success. It is a big deal. I had to remind myself of that last year because it was such a rough journey getting it sold. But thank you all. I see the claps as well. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Yes, yes, yes. Congratulations. In that good feeling. Remap those neurological pathways, Christian. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Oh, thank you.
There's
Thank
your hype
you,
person
yes.
right here. Here's
Yes, no, this is a good space. No, I appreciate that. Yes, it is. It was good, and it is a lot I could teach people on that process for sure. I was going to mention to Charity's question. So I'm about 10 months into this business, I think I mentioned, but I've been coaching for about 4.5 years. And like you also don't have the ICF certification, do have a certification in Gallup strengths, but I like you, like a lot of people seem to want that ICF certification. And I think for me, it's been two things. I think one, sorry about that. I try to remind myself of all the value I've added for clients over the years and continue to. And even sometimes going back in my head to those conversations of where we had breakthroughs. And I think, and then I try to also put on my capitalism hat and say, I am providing value to people, and in a capitalist market that, there's a price to that. There has to be a price to that somebody's willing to pay. So I do that. And then I also, on the certification side, just kind of like one of the things I teach people in authenticity coaching is that, to kind of deprogram our brains from thinking that the only way somebody is qualified is because they have a degree or because they have a certification or et cetera. So I try to try to repeat that to myself and remind myself that lived experience is valuable, and informal forms of education are valuable. And though the gatekeepers that, and the barriers to getting into programs and paying for them, et cetera, don't get to be the sole deciders on who gets to do this. So hope it helps. A couple of things that I do.
Totally agree with, what are the institutions, who is creating the criteria for these certifications, right? What is the body that says this is correct and this is not? Just throw it out there, like, what does that look like, right? And so questioning the authority and why do I need to be ICF certified? What I'll say around that, because we do live in a capitalist society and we do have these hierarchies and stuff, and so maneuvering in these structures, I'll say that when you maybe are an executive coach and you're working with organizations, they might want your ICF certification. That might be important to them, but for example, there's no governing body for business coaching. It's just what I've learned over time that I am sharing with folks and hopefully expediting that for people, right? Some life coaching, maybe, like, again, EQ is a model it's a model that I've learned from an organization who has gotten their certification from ICF, right? But really where I've seen the ICF certification be of value is when maybe you are offering your services as an executive coach. Beyond that, and you're working maybe with some organizations, but beyond that, like, I was an executive coach for a very big tech organization. They didn't care that I didn't have an ICF certification. I went through an ICF certified program, but I didn't put in all the hours and do all the work to get my own cert. And it doesn't need to stop you from doing what you do, right? Especially, I think, leadership coaches, career coaches, and such. People are more interested in, like, do you have an experience and can you help me, right? And where's the proof that you can help me? That I will take someone's testimonials and the proof and the evidence that you're putting out there in social, say, over, a little few letters after your name, like, that says you're ICF certified. So Charity, if that's something that is holding you back, say, and even doing a beta, that's maybe my second piece of advice for you, sometimes like doing the actual thing is how you can battle some of this imposter syndrome, like just actually putting yourself out there and doing the thing, and not maybe sometimes we get this idea, this grandiose idea, because we're comparing ourselves to other people who have, you know, years of business experience, who've been building their coaching practices for decades, say, you know, the gurus and such, right? That's why I said one of my tips was turn off the noise, like turn off the socials, like don't worry about what other people are doing. What are you doing? How do you do it, right? But can you spin up an MVP or a beta program so you can prove to yourself that you can coach folks, that you can get those testimonials from folks, right? Maybe it is a 6-week, 8-week thing that you do with one-on-one, right? With people you potentially already know who you've coached, because you said you support people already, right? Like you are a mentor, you're a leader out there already. So that might be one way for you to kind of like get out of your own way, prove to yourself that you know how to make money, that you can run a program, that you can coach someone that didn't come from an organization that is, you know, so do things in small batches too, or in smaller ways to get that evidence and that proof, and wonderfully get the testimonials after the fact, right? That can also showcase for other people that to me, again, I think that's more important, to see that you've actually helped somebody and out of their own words, they're like, yeah, I recommend charity, versus your ICF cert, right? Emily, I'm bringing you up to speak, so hopefully you can join us. But any thoughts around that, you know, Charity, as before Emily goes?
Yeah, thank you so much. That is so helpful, because I think all of those tips of, you know, not worrying so much about the certification, but also just doing the thing, you know, and getting the testimonials and starting small, because I think I do have these big ideas of, you know, programs that I should be doing and how big they should be and how many people should be in it, and looking at the numbers and the metrics, and then feeling like I'm not doing enough. So I think all of that gets in my head, and I have to remember, you know, just work on one person at a time, one program at a time, you know, start small, and, you know, just learn. Think of it as a learning experience rather than, okay, I didn't get this done, or I didn't get this done in the time frame that I wanted, so I'm a failure, I'm not doing well, or, you know, I think it's easy to be overwhelmed by all that, but hearing all of you speak and talk and give advice, I think that is so great. And connecting to all of you, this is amazing. So thank you, Carissa, for bringing this all together and bringing Jupiter and Christian and, you know, all of us into this platform to talk about it and openly talk about it, because I think there's a fear of saying, I just don't know what I'm doing, or I'm afraid, or, you know, there are things that are holding me back and I don't know how to speak about it. But being able to have an open and safe space is so important. So thank you all.
I appreciate that, Charity, especially because this is an open platform, right? This isn't even a private space. Like anyone can pop into here. But I really try hard to try to curate spaces where people can feel like they can be honest and like and just say the thing, right? Because so we can help solve it with each other. Charity, one thing I'll say too is I always tell my clients and tell folks that I think entrepreneurship is just one big experiment, or many multiple little experiments, right? You're constantly trying things out. You're constantly learning. Even when you think you got one thing figured out, and this other thing happens. Like I said, I've been running these lives for a year, like at least a year, right? And today I am having some weird tech stuff, you know, so, and hopefully that's calmed down at this point. But so it is a learning experience, and try to start small. Since I'm giving people little action items here, I would love, Charity, if you could maybe if you want to share it, but think about like, what is the action I can take from here? Am I going to create this MVP or this beta? Would a good goal for me be, let me just try to get like 3 beta clients at a you know, a lower tier price than I would normally charge, just to get it going, to build that momentum, to get the proof of concept, to see what it's like to ask for like get a sale, to make money, to put your initial thoughts together on what the program even is, you know. And when can you get that done? You know, when can you maybe get those people in? I literally worked with a client just in like a couple hours before I talked to you all, and she's doing that. She has a beta she wants to run for 6 to 8 weeks. And she's also been like ruminating on thoughts and ideas and whatever and overthinking something. And like, I'm like, next week, give me the plan, right? She's gonna do it. It doesn't require a lot. I think that's the beauty of coaching practices, that it's low overhead. You already have the expertise. Just give yourself some space to think about, what is that offer that I want to give? And who do I know? Short list of who do I know that would be willing to take me up on this $500 to $1,000 offer, maybe, right? And see what happens. And you might surprise yourself on how much you know, how much easier this actually was. And then you can move to that next phase where things might get tougher and such. But that first part, like that first initial, like putting yourself out there sometimes is the hardest. And just like, I think getting on, maybe Jupiter knows about this, getting on to live and all of a sudden being like, a live streamer, you had to make a decision, right? To just try, right? So I'd love that for you, Charity. If you want to name and declare something in the space today that we can hold you accountable to, I'm willing to take it, but no pressure. But just wanted to throw that out you as something maybe that you can, an action that you can maybe take for yourself and to hold even yourself accountable to. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this MVP. And this is the date I'm going to do it by.
That's great. Thank you, Carissa. I like that idea of maybe getting 3 clients maybe in the next couple of months, and then doing some type of program, whether it's 4, 6, or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I do have some plans to hold some small workshops in August, October, and the next January. So, but I know that's a longer time. I probably need something sooner so that I can keep testing my concept and also share after the workshop. That's been my problem. What is my offering? So it's like I do the workshop, I give all this free advice, guidance, and then I don't really know what my offering is. So then I just don't do anything after, and I just go to the next workshop. So I think there needs to be some kind of concrete coaching offering that I have specifically in mind and that I've already tested by the time I get to these workshops. So thank you for putting that out there and that idea. And I'm going to own it right now and, say it and manifest it. So thank you all for listening and supporting me in that.
I love it. All right, Emily, Anne, would love for you to share anything resonating, anything you want to share, any wisdom you want to share. Would love to hear it before we wrap up.
Perfect. I just hopped in. I saw this on my notifications, and when you just feel called to hop in someplace, and I'm like, well, I don't particularly feel imposter syndrome personally, but I definitely work with a lot of people who do. And the thing that I'm feeling called to share on this particular call is I developed a system of leadership that puts humans at the center, right? So it's very different than the type of leadership that is used in companies today. And I obviously coach leaders. My coaching is around coaching them into this new style of leadership. And I had a hypothesis. I researched it and, there's 13 different dimensions. There's an assessment, yada, yada, all this stuff. And I had a hypothesis. I was like, I bet you women and people of color will naturally over-index on this style of leadership. And that's not yet solid in research numbers, but certainly we don't have enough data to say that with any definity. But that is how the data is trending. And I'm sort of wanting to, as you guys are all coaches, so oftentimes the places where people perceive their greatest weakness is one of their greatest strengths. And this imposter syndrome, the reality of navigating a professional spaces as people of color has given us a superpower that is the exact thing that's needed right now, right? So, the reality of the challenges like entrepreneurship, and then pile on top of that whatever biases that women actually face, that people of color actually face in that process, that internal muscle that we've been building our whole lives, right? Not just in our professional careers, but our whole lives, is actually the exact skill set that every single leader needs to learn right now, right? How to be in the face of a system that's saying no, right? And staying the course and staying true to who you are and staying connected to your humanity and staying connected to your strengths and your gifts. And so just wanting to throw that out there for you guys that my experience with imposter syndrome has been that flipping it on its head in this way and saying, actually, that skill that you've been developing that, you know, while it feels like imposter syndrome and there are very real barriers to entry that you've been dealing with, you've also been essentially going to humanity's gym, right? And it's the skill set that's needed right now.
Thank you for that reminder. That is some truth right there. We have inherently, by the virtue, unfortunately, of how we're judged by our skin, is also the strength that we have of how we've learned how to navigate being the other, right? So thanks for that reminder, Emily. Emily, is it Emily or Emily Ann?
Emily. Emily Ann is just to be able to find me amongst all of the Emilys.
Does anyone else have anything to share before we wrap things up today? If not, I just want to thank you all for sticking around, for joining me on this Built by BIPOC. I do love to, part of like, what I love about a LinkedIn audio is because it's conversational. And for the folks who are joining on stage, which is all of you today, I do like to hear about what you do, who you serve, because we are business owners. So while I don't always love leading with pitches, I think we should have a space to share, so that one, we can practice it, but two, that we can connect with each other if like, hey, you never know if you need that thing, right? Or you don't know who I might know that you should connect with. I'm going to ping all of you because I think there's definitely people I want to connect you all to, or just get to know you all better. But so with that, I've heard a little bit more about who you are and what you're about. And would also just love to hear more about your work and who you serve. And if you have an ask, go ahead and share that today before we exit. And we can popcorn it around, whoever wants to go first. No particular order, but please feel free to share what you do, how people work with you, etc.
All right, I will go first because I do have a call, so I have to jump. And I just want to say thank you so much. So I am Jupiter F. Stone. I help impact founders and B corporations take long form content and convert it over into short form content so that they can lead the people where they need them to go. So glad my day led me here. Thank you all. I am so looking forward to connecting with you all. It goes down in the DMs. Thank you for the space. Thank you for the practice pitch. And hopefully I'll see y'all on the other side of this digital divide. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jupiter. We'll see you later.
Thank you.
You want to go next, Charity?
Popcorn. So my name is Charity Nicholas. Nice to meet you, Emily. I'm glad you joined in. I am actually an environmental health and safety consultant. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I just got a new job, actually, and my job title is now Senior Director, which is something that I've been working for a long time. So I finally got the title that I wanted, and I'm managing teams, doing business development, and opened up pathways to what I want to do. Where my last job, there were actually a lot of barriers, and I had to allow myself to see that, to be able to navigate and move out of that space and find one that was open to me and what I do. So in addition to that, I'm a mentor in the community. So I mentor actually a lot of college students moving to becoming new professionals in the field, helping them navigate that, connect to other professionals, especially BIPOC professionals, mainly in the tech industry, but now it's expanding to other areas like, education, entertainment. There are a lot of people that I love networking with. And so I love to create those opportunities for young people to connect with, the professionals who do what they do. And I as they move up through their career, I do a lot of mentorship coaching for them to up level, move to other levels. And now a lot of the younger ones I used to coach are now moving into C-suite level jobs. So it's amazing to see that. And I've done that all for free. And now I'm starting to think, you know, I actually could do this as a business. And hopefully my next step will be to move out of working a 9 to 5 and doing coaching full time. So that's my dream and what I love to do. So great to be here and would love to keep connecting with all of you.
Awesome. Thanks, Charity. All right, who's going? Emily, Christian?
I can jump in because my 12-week-old daughter has decided she doesn't want to nap anymore. So let me finish and then hop off. So I'm founder of Kindred Keynotes and Coaching. We're a firm that facilitates breakthroughs for people trying to embody DEI more holistically, trying to achieve personal and professional goals, and or trying to live more authentic lives, or for organizations uplift and empower authentic leaders. So we do that through keynote speeches on Black American history, justice, leadership, DEI, coaching, career coaching, life coaching, business coaching, but then also authenticity coaching, helping people maintain or design lives as their authentic selves, and some consulting in the leadership and DEI space as well. So primarily for nonprofits, but I do work with nonprofits and some state organizations as well.
Wonderful. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you all.
Emily.
Hi guys. I'm CEO of a company called Human Possible, and we do scalable leadership development for private companies. Series A and beyond, we do the company-wide programs, and then pre-A, we do one-on-one coaching, and we help leaders embody what I call human future leadership, which in essence, instead of teaching leaders a litany of skills and crossing our fingers that they become good leaders, I really teach leaders how to understand how to bring out their greatest potential, and then how to bring out the greatest potential in their team, and then ultimately how to align the system, the business system, with potential maximization. And working in private markets, I started in public companies, but working in private markets because the time of transformation lines up very well with investment windows, and it gives a much more clean view of the impact of this type of leadership. And then ultimately would like to move back into public companies once I'm able to get a 2 to 3 year commitment to this leadership work.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Emily. I definitely want to connect with all of you and hear a little bit more about your journeys, and connect you all to people that as I'm hearing what you're sharing. But just want to thank you again, everyone, for just joining the conversation, participating. I do host these events once a week. Sometimes I do things that are live streamed and do videos and interviews with people of color and business owners of color. And then other times it's LinkedIn audios where I get to have more of the conversations with y'all. I kind of like these better sometimes because I get to meet so many awesome people like yourselves. So thank you so much for joining. One thing I do want to share, that if you do enjoy this kind of space, you want to meet other BIPOC entrepreneurs, this month I am hosting more private spaces through Zoom in my BIPOC block party. And so every week I'm hosting a different networking event. Or they're more like intentional alternative networking events, because similar to here, I don't lead with pitches. I do believe that when you find values aligned folks, then that's what opens the doors. Me telling you what I do, like I might be checking out in the beginning because I'm like, I don't even know if I like you yet. You know? I like to create spaces where we're having conversations and dialogue and being honest about things first, and to see if like, do we share interests aligned? Like, are we aligned in our values and things like that? And then give you opportunities to share. Because I think the business after that, once we do figure out like if we like each other, then the door is completely open, right? So if that is something of interest to you, we are, again, hosting weekly events, weekly networking events. The BIPOC block party information is in the comment section of this event. It's also on my LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn profile. Would love for you to join. Right, this week, we're doing charity. This might be really great for you. This week or tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST, we are hosting, 5 p.m. EST, we're hosting the a space for newer business owners. A lot of times I hear people say, I want to meet people who are at similar stages as me, who are in similar industries as me. So that's what's happening this week. Next week will be, I believe it's my creatives. And so all the service providers and such. So Jupiter might be a great fit for that one. And then the following week will be one for the like more therapeutic people, wellness, well-being industry. And then the following one is my DEI folks. So again, all that information you can find on the link in the comments to look at the block party, and you can sign up for one of them, you can sign up for all of them, but these are the similar conversations that we'll tend to have, but just maybe more curated with people in the similar industry or stage of business as you. All right, so I'd love for you to join that. Otherwise, again, thank you so much for joining Built by BIPOC today. Again, I host these weekly. You can also find replays on my YouTube channel, but just want to say thank you so much. I hope to kind of see you at another event, at the block party events. And yeah, excited to just continue to build our liberatory futures together. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.